From Anshe Sfard Beth El Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion, Parshat Miketz and Shabbat Chanukah. Chanukah, a holiday of repentance. If we look at the parsha that's read on the week of Chanukah, very often it's Miketz. Miketz is, yes, about Yosef rising to power, about Yosef bringing the brothers in, questioning and challenging them as to why they're doing what they're doing in Egypt. But in many ways, it's also a parsha of Teshuva. After all, why did Yosef subject all of his people, all of his brothers, to this horrible ordeal, having to prove whether they stole the cup or they didn't steal the cup, putting money in their bags? It was helping them do tshuva. They began to realize that everything they had done was because, everything that was happening to them was because of what they had done, the crime of selling Yosef. So in many ways, Parshat Miketz is a parsha of tshuva. Going back to our question, why does that relate to Chanukah? Because on Chanukah, the Jews did not just win a victory over an outside enemy, but they also won a victory over themselves. So Rabbi Salvation of blessed memory pointed out, we don't like to talk about the true meaning of Chanukah. It's embarrassing, it's an indelicate topic. But the truth is that we were fighting within our Jewish community. Many Jews, perhaps most of the Jews, had become Hellenized, had accepted many of the Greek concepts about God, about worship, and they become Greek both in their thinking and inside and on the outside in terms of the way they comported themselves in general. The idea of the Greeks was not so much to destroy the temple, but to defile the temple. They defiled the temple. They were mechalel, they defiled that which is holy. They made profane that which is holy. And our job was to undo that process. And in the process, many Jews returned through the inspiration of Yehuda Maccabee. Many Jews returned. Mila Hashem Elai, whoever was with God should go back to him. They returned to God. And that's what Rabbi Salvation interprets. It's brought by Rabbi Schechter in his Sefer Mipnei Harav. He says, Ba'u vanecha, achakim ba'u vanecha. Afterward, your own children came back. They came back to the Torah. They came back away from Hellenism. They came back to appreciating the value of the Jewish people, the value of Torah. So in many ways, Chanukah is a holiday of Teshuva, of the repentance of the Jews, the coming back of the Jews to Judaism. The Jews had left Judaism to some great degree. There was just such a passion for the new Hellenistic ways that it took a tremendous revolution to bring Jews back to Judaism. It's also interesting to note it's one of the few holidays that kind of overlaps with Rosh Chodesh. It's part of Chanukah as Rosh Chodesh. It's thrown in there. And the question is, what's it doing there? What's the connection between Chanukah and Rosh Chodesh? For instance, the Sfas Emes says, the Ger Rabbi says that Chanukah, Rosh Chodesh, it's all Hakol Echad, it's all one idea. Chodesh is the Tchilas Yitzchadshus. The Rosh Chodesh is the beginning of renewal. Chanukah is Sof Yitzchadshus. It's the last renewal in terms of the history of the Jewish people in the land of Israel in ancient times. Rosh Chodesh was the very first Rosh Chodesh in Nisan, the Rosh Chodesh of the renewal of our people with Moshe in Egypt. And Chanukah is that final renewal before we go into the long night of Galus, of exile. You know, there's another link between the Parsha and Chanukah. It's along the similar lines. And that is that the Medrash says, Kate Sam Lachoshech. The idea of Chanukah is, and the idea of Parshas Miketz is that it comes an end to the darkness. With Hellenistic thought, we thought we were so enlightened. But the truth is that we were in the dark. And Torah is Ora, Torah is light. That's real enlightenment. And that brought a light back. The light came back, the light that was hidden in the menorah, the light that was hidden from the 7 days of creation, the light came back. And similarly, Joseph, he thinks he's in the dungeon. Surely, like, unfortunately, Gilad Shalit, it didn't see any daylight. You don't get to see the light too much when you're in a dungeon when you're in jail, and Kate Sam Lachoshech, there is an end to the darkness. Today, the Jewish people face a tremendous challenge. We face not Hellenism, but we face a sweep of a feeling that somehow Judaism is outdated. Somehow Judaism doesn't follow. It's not in line with modern and current thinking. It's not Quran. It's not the in thing. The message of Chanukah is that there'll be an end to that period where Jews will feel that somehow Judaism is somehow second rate, that Judaism somehow is old fashioned. And it will be an era will yet arise where each Jew can come back and proudly, like Judah Maccabee and like those in his day, proudly come back and say, I am a Jew. And as such, I'm proud to be a Jew, and I return to the Jewish people. This parsha is a parsha of the brothers returning to who they are, understanding their sense of achva, of brotherhood, that we saw our brothers suffering, what do we do about it? And they do tshuva. Chanukah is about understanding who my brothers are and who I am, and what that hidden light within each Jew is. If we can return, God willing, to that, that's really a lichtig Chanukah. That's really a Chanukah where you're really lit up. That's a real Rosh Chodesh where we really have hitchadshut, where we really have a renewal. That's what Chanukah is about. That's what Miketz is about. And we hope that each one of us, and as a people, as a nation, we hope that Kate Sam Lachoshech, the end of the darkness is near, and that soon in our day, we should yet see the light of Torah, each one of us to appreciate the Torah more deeply and more and more. And as a nation, and for the people in the land of Israel, and for all of us, should be Kate Sam Lachoshech, the years of darkness, trials and travails, rockets, and the more, come to an end. We should indeed, it should be a great light of Torah for all of us. Thank you, and happy Chanukah, and a good Shabbos to everyone. Thank you for joining us here today at the Anshe Sfard Beth Lemeth congregation for a discussion of Parshat Miketz and Chanukah. Thank you to Jason Lefkowitz for making today's presentation possible. And join us again each week and check our archives for past presentations about the Parsha and the holidays. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit ASBEE.org.